Hello beautiful and welcome to makeup. You'll encourage this behavior. Boom! I made my cabaret. I made my cabaret. Hello gorgeous and welcome back to Watercooler Convo Makeup, where I talk about the things that you want me to talk about, where I talk about the things that I want me to talk about, and sometimes we meet in the middle and I talk about the things that we want me to talk about while I do my makeup. And today we are talking about the highly requested comeback of James Charles. Yay! Recently I've done 2 videos analysing James Charles's recent cancellation, being this one and this one. This one is just analysing his holding himself accountable video as a piece of media and how it was more so a confession than an apology, which, as I said before, is a very odd business move, but to each their own. And then the other one was analysing our cancelled internet folk as a whole and seeing if there was some sort of pattern or blueprint that a lot of them follow. And in that video, I did find the when in doubt, upload it out system. Get cancelled, apologise, make a comeback video, and then just act as if nothing ever happened. And from the looks of James Charles's recent video, it's kind of what he's doing. Also, I'm pretty sure in that video I even specified that James Charles, Mikey from Glam and Gore, and Shane Dawson are yet to come back to the internet, but knowing my luck, as soon as I post that video, those people are going to come back. James Charles is back, and Shane Dawson is teasing that he is coming back, so 2 for 3. I digress. If you want to go check out those videos so that you have a bit more context to this analysis, go ahead. The links will be in my description, but also if you don't want to, that is a-okay with me. Also, I've been getting some comments asking what my upload schedule is, like when do I typically upload videos? The answer is I don't know. Literally, if I find a video that I want to research for, if I find a video that I want to do, I research for however long it takes for me to research, I write my notes for however long it takes for me to write my notes, I film the video for however long it takes me to film the video, I edit the video for however long it takes me to edit the video, and then I upload in Premiere. So my system at this point is it goes up when it goes up, but I am trying to put in a community post a few hours before so that you know when I'm uploading. So check out community posts to keep yourself updated, because that's where I usually update it, but also subscribe and turn on bell notifications. Apart from that, if you don't want to know, that's also fine. But I will let everyone know before I go on with the disclaimer and content warning that James Charles's recent comeback video, being an open conversation, did leave me quite uncomfortable and dissatisfied. Disclaimer and content warning: in this video, as I have already specified, I will be discussing James Charles's recent cancellation and comeback to the internet with his an open conversation video. So in this video, I will have discussions of his sexual misconduct allegations, being soliciting and sending nude photos to minors, having inappropriate conversations with these minors, and because of this, allegations of grooming. If you find any of this content possibly triggering, please proceed with caution or consider clicking off of the video altogether, because at the end of the day, I don't want any of my content to jeopardize your well-being and jeopardize your happiness. Also, even though I trust everyone, I still need to make it clear in every single one of these videos that I do not promote, encourage, or endorse any mean, malicious, or harassing behavior to anyone I discuss in these videos. I don't want for any hate, malice, or harassment to go out there into the world because of something that I've said or on my behalf. So we are allowed to keep it cheeky, we're allowed to keep it messy, and we're allowed to keep it fun, but please keep it to this comment section and this channel only. With all of that said and done, let's get onto the video and let's get onto my analysis. Analysis. Hey sisters! For a bit of context, a few months ago, James was accused of sexual misconduct, specifically soliciting and sending nude photos to minors, having further inappropriate conversations with these minors, and because of these conversations, grooming. He then made an accountability video, which was essentially his statement and apology on the situation and allegations, and then took about 3 months off of the internet. Up until a few days ago, being 3-4-ish days ago at the moment while I'm filming this, but depending on when I upload this video, it's going to be longer in the timeline, and at the moment he has uploaded no other videos as I'm filming, but knowing my luck, as soon as I start editing, he's going to be uploading another video, so lucky me. But either way, he came back with that video to the internet and he addresses the last few months of his life and also some of the allegations. The response from the audience in this open conversation video is, in all honesty, a bit mixed. At this point, it has 3.7 million views, and the like to dislike ratio is heavily in James's favor at a 2-to-1 ratio. There are also comments of people excited and happy that James is back and excited to see further content, but there's also quite a lot of comments of harsh criticism. Some comments saying how horrified they are that the internet forgave and forgot so easily, some comments saying that James should have just never come back to the internet, and some comments saying that James should seek professional therapy instead of just surrounding himself with the yes men that he has around him. So very mixed bag with this response, but it's also, in all honesty, what I kind of expected. In my last video about cancelled YouTubers, I specified that even though James would get a lot of hate, and he would get a lot of hate for a long time, there would still be a genuine loyal fan base behind him, supporting him and excited for his return. And it's exactly what we're getting in the comment section, in all honesty, and even the like to dislike ratio, because even though it's a 2-to-1 ratio, there's still like 87,000 dislikes. I'll be fully transparent in the fact that my bias is against James. I did used to be a fan of his, actually. I used to like his content, his makeup looks, his makeup products, but after these allegations and just the way that James handled them, I no longer trust the person that I see. But regardless, in this video, I will be trying my best to give my opinions based on analysis rather than my emotions and bias towards James. But as I already said, based on my analysis, not even my bias, based on my analysis, the video did leave me quite dissatisfied and quite uncomfortable. James, throughout the open conversation video, discussed how important it was for him to hold himself accountable when it came to the role that he played in the allegations with the minors. How even though the situation sucked, it was embarrassing. He was embarrassed. He still had to sit back and take accountability for his actions and his behavior. But if it was so important, where's the video? The holding myself accountable video is no longer on his channel. It's either deleted or it's privated, but regardless, it's no longer in the public eye. So this is where I start to sister struggle, trying to find the logic as to how it could be so important for you to hold yourself accountable, yet you delete the accountability video. Is that not just the biggest contradiction there is? Because no matter how much it sucks to swallow your pride and admit that you are in the wrong, by deleting the accountability video, you are no longer holding yourself accountable. Which is where a lot of my discomfort and lack of satisfaction stems from, because James seems to be saying the right things, but the wrong way. His keywords and phrases seem to be, it sucked, it was embarrassing, he was embarrassed, which, okay, fair-ish, but also, did it not suck for the victims? This is what I mean by James is seemingly saying the right things but in the wrong way, because yes, the situation does suck. Yes, the situation is embarrassing. Yes, he should feel embarrassed. But he is discussing how all of these allegations have affected him. He is discussing how much this situation is affecting him, how much the internet and their blowing it out of proportion has affected him. But Fambulance, it's your behavior and your actions that got you into these allegations, which is why the original accountability video didn't land, which is why this video isn't landing like so many other YouTube apology and statement videos don't land. Because to be able to hold yourself 100% accountable, you need to understand and recognize the pain that you've caused through your awful behavior and awful actions without involving any of your own pain. Because the only pain that James and these other YouTubers are being hit with is the consequences for their own actions. It's only after these people are called out for their gross toxic behavior that these people feel embarrassment, feel shame, feel the suckiness of the situation, because really for the first time the situation hasn't benefited them. So unfortunately, even though James is holding himself accountable, he deleted the one accountability video, and throughout both videos he discusses how much the situation has affected him. Which in all honesty, that just doesn't really matter, because, oh, your consequences suck? Poor thing. It'd be like if I punched someone in the face, but apologized for punching someone in the face, but in my apology for punching someone in the face discussing how much punching them in the face affected me. Like, no fam, that's not how it works. So unfortunately, in neither of James's videos does he actually take true 100% accountability for his actions and awful behavior. But where this gets even more uncomfortable, in James's second video, the open conversation video, he discusses the tea channels, the drama channels, specifically in a Twitter thread that blew this out of proportion. Because specifically on this Twitter thread, it listed the 20 victims of James Charles. According to James's second video, a lot of people took this as fact and ran with it, making articles and videos. Also, according to James's video, the information in this thread was actually defaming, because the list of victims was actually misinformation and circling false allegations. Because according to James, this list was listing people as victims that weren't actually victims, and some of these alleged victims made content around their experiences to then take it back and express that they were lying for clout. I will say this, false allegations are absolutely disgusting because they have the potential to discredit any of the true allegations. If this is the case and James is correct, these people are absolutely disgusting and should be ashamed of themselves for giving people the ability to discredit the true allegations. Someone is already going through so much pain speaking their truth. How dare you make their life harder in damaging their credibility of their pain and of their experience for clout. Scum of the earth kind of behavior that one is. But also, it's given James the ability to say that he has no victims. In his second video, his open conversation video, James specifies that the list is false because he has no victims. But in his original accountability video, he says that he is sorry to the victims. He apologizes directly to the victims. So it's pretty convenient that the original video is now gone from his channel. But when I originally covered these allegations, I did specify that this was a terrible business move. Because in this situation, it is James that is being accused. So if there are any victims in this situation, they are victims of James. So by him apologizing directly to the victims, saying, I am sorry to the victims, it is James acknowledging the fact that he has victims in this situation. But now that James is back, according to his new video, there are no victims. And the original accountability video is gone. It's deleted, it's privated, whatever, it's gone, it's off the internet. So James was potentially able to use these false allegations to back up his new claims of there are no victims of James Charles, changing the narrative and changing his character within this narrative, which once again is not holding yourself accountable. And even more concerningly, in James's recent video where he's discussing the false allegations, he even says that false allegations are disgusting because they have the potential to discredit the true allegations. But throughout the second video, it was really only the false allegations that James discusses properly. So once again, with the original accountability video being taken down, this is the only video on James's channel that discusses any of these allegations. So to only discuss the false allegations properly rather than the initial allegations, seemingly James has taken advantage of these false allegations to discredit the initial ones. Don't get me wrong, James did address the initial allegations in this video as well, but as I said before, it is the only video on his channel now that addresses any of the allegations, and in comparison to the time that he spent on the false allegations, it just wasn't enough. All James really said about the initial allegations in his video was that he didn't do his due diligence to make sure that the minors were of age, and when he described in his first video that he was desperate, it was him trying to explain, not excuse. The excuse versus explanation issue is one that once again a lot of YouTubers fall into, and from my perspective, it is just as simple as emotions. To me, an explanation becomes an excuse when too many of the person's emotions are brought into it. Because if James's phrasing in his original accountability video was, I was trying too hard to find a boyfriend, even though it would be weird still and it would be gross still, it is still an action rather than an emotion, so it is harder for an individual to empathize with this statement because it lacks emotion. However, in this video and James's original statement on these allegations, he went with the phrasing of, I was desperate to find a boyfriend, which desperation is emotional, so that means that people have more of an ability to empathize with this statement. So many people can empathize with this statement because so many people in the world have been deprived of love. They are desperate to be loved. They desire to be loved. I know I have been quite a handful of times in my life. So even though regardless of how James phrases this explanation, it's still gonna feel weird. It's still gonna feel gross. But I think it would have landed better if he removed it completely of emotion, or if he removed majority of his emotions from this explanation. But unfortunately for James, this isn't what he's done. He's put a lot of his emotions into both of his statements. He's expressed how these allegations have made him feel in this situation, in his cancellation, and unfortunately, he is coming across not as genuine as I think he intended to, but also it's coming across like he is playing a bit of a victim in this situation. In statements like James's, saying that you're not trying to play the victim is literally nothing if you have nothing to back it up with. Saying that you're not trying to play the victim yet talking about how much the consequences have sucked for you is just contradicting. But typically, it's also quite unnecessary to say that you're not trying to play the victim when you're not playing the victim. Also, I will say this, when I was discussing the false allegations before, I know that I only discussed how they're awful because they have the potential to discredit the true allegations, and I still stand by that, but I do give some leniency in this situation to James when it comes to the false allegations, because even though he's done some awful crap, it's still unfair and it's still gross towards him as well. Just especially for clout. What's wrong with people? So in this part of the situation, yeah, he was treated unfairly, and I'll give him that. But for the rest of it, he didn't hold himself accountable, and he's, by the looks of it, changed the narrative and changed his character within this narrative. I've already explained my opinions on the due diligence part of James's statements, but once again, I just don't think it's enough. Because what James specifies in his original video that he has left out of this video is that the reason he didn't do his due diligence is because he was desperate to find a boyfriend, but also he forgot the power in his platform. One of my absolute favorite statements. I've expressed my opinions on the I forgot the power in my platform argument in quite a few videos, so I'll try and make it short but sweet. It is dangerous and it is stupid. Because on social media, followers and subscribers or views and likes are literally currency. It allows for them to get more money through AdSense, sponsorships, or other brand deals. Also, James in general just has a lot of money because he's been quite successful on the internet for about 4-ish years now. I know that he's been on the internet for about 6, but it took him quite a bit to like pop off and to get to the success that makes you quite a lot of money as a social media content creator. Oof, that was a sentence. Sometimes you can see my brain like start to stop as I'm mid-sentence, and then I get to the end and I'm like, dude, that makes sense. So for James specifically, is every 22-year-old a millionaire? No, so there's power there. Does every other 22-year-old have over 25 million followers on YouTube alone, not including other social media platforms? No, there's power there. So in my opinion, if your position on social media is quite unobtainable to the regular folk, then it is both stupid and dangerous to forget the power in your platform. Not every 22-year-old is a millionaire. Not every 22-year-old has over 25 million followers. It is exceedingly rare that a 23, 24, 25, anyone of any age has that kind of power. So, stupid statement, dangerous statement, please stop doing it. Creators on the internet. Sad thing is, this isn't the first time that James has been hit with predatory allegations, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because he brought it up in his second video. As I said, he mentions the first set of allegations briefly in the video, expressing that he worked so hard on bettering himself from this situation that it sucked for him to realize so harshly that he wasn't doing as good as he thought he was doing, which to me is kind of odd to have in this video, because not doing as well as you thought you were doing is heartbreaking and it makes sense. Even I had this experience quite recently. I thought that I had healed from a lot of my trauma up until quite recently because I got triggered by something new that I didn't even know existed in my brain, and it sucked to realize that I wasn't doing as well as I thought that I was doing. Which, once again, going back to one of my earlier points, is possibly James putting too many of his own emotions into the statement, because he's put in parts of his statement things that people can empathize with. With this specific portion of the statement, I empathized with it because I was like, hey, that happened to me like literally last week, I think it was. So unfortunately, at least from my perspective, this part does feel more like an excuse rather than an explanation, because I'm able to empathize with it and sympathize with him, and therefore it kind of feels like he's making himself the victim in this kind of situation because he thought he was doing better than what he thought he was doing. But also, a gross person doesn't have to try and not do gross things. Are we all following this brainwave? So for me personally, this statement being a part of his statements about these allegations does feel very out of place and just feels weird. Because once again, it has emotion to it, it allows for people to empathize and sympathize with him, which allows him to play the victim, even though it may not be his intention. Cause and effect, that's the cause, that's the effect, right? Look, with this specific section, I have notes written for all of my videos. I've gone off book. I've gone off book, I've lost my place. Either way, weird statement. Personally, I don't think it belongs. People can sympathize and empathize with it. Helps James play victim. Hopefully, my brain will stop melting now. I don't know what's going on with my brain lately. Maybe I need to stop drinking as much coffee, and maybe I need to sleep more, because I think I'm running off like 3 hours of sleep today. Which, look, I've had worse. Ran off half an hour once. That was a really bad day. I wonder if y'all can pick the video. But in all honesty, while we're discussing James's excuse and the fact that he was desperate to find a boyfriend, I'm in all honesty not surprised that James hasn't found one yet. I'm in all honesty not surprised that he's single. The way that James has discussed himself in the romance and dating department before, it really in all honesty doesn't seem like James loves himself. In the past, James has said quite a lot of self-deprecating jokes, which are fine. I am not a stranger to a self-deprecating joke or two, let me tell you. But in all honesty, a lot of self-deprecating jokes have a base of reality to them. Oh. Well, I didn't mean to do that. But if you're meeting people, or at least trying to meet people, if you're constantly telling people how terrible a person you are, why would they want to date you? Like, if you're giving people a list of reasons as to why it's a bad idea to date you, then people aren't going to want to date you. Now, I'm not saying that this is what James is specifically doing, because one, I do not know James Charles, but two, I've never tried to date James Charles. But The tweets are out there, the videos are out there, he has 25 million followers. There is a chance that the people that he is flirting with or trying to court have seen these self-deprecating jokes and just get a weird vibe from it. So if I could give any advice on this, it's a really hard battle to fight. Don't get me wrong, it has taken me quite a long time to get to where I am, but it's so worth it. You need to start fighting for yourself, and you need to start learning how to love yourself, because even if you find someone that you love so much, if you don't love yourself, you will never be able to trust that someone will have the capacity to love you back the way that you want to be loved. If you don't love you, you will never be able to trust the fact that someone else can. It's a sad fact, it's a sad reality, but it is reality. Also, even though I'm not quite there yet, I'm quite a fan of myself these days, so gets better. I digress. The first 22 minutes of the video is James discussing the allegations, his feelings and emotions to do with the allegations, the false allegations, his feelings and emotions to do with the false allegations, the holding himself accountable video, the aftermath of the holding himself accountability video, how important the accountability video is, even though it's now deleted off of his channel, which doesn't make sense because it's a huge contradiction, but whatever, I've already talked about that. And once again promises to be a better person and just to work on himself. So essentially it feels like James has deleted the original accountability video to make a second one, a new one that will hopefully make him look better to the masses. I'm not saying that's exactly what he's done, but I'm saying that there's quite a few things in his statements and the deleting of the original video that kind of leads quite a few people to this conclusion. But in the last 8-ish minutes of the video, James actually spends his time discussing all of the happy things that he has done in his absence, like his 22nd birthday celebration and the importance of getting vaccinated and the fact that he got vaccinated. All of these things are okay and are valid to talk about, especially the importance of getting vaccinated. Australia, for the love of God, please fix your BS with this one. Thank you kindly from an Australian. But having all of this happy stuff at the end of the video just feels very weird and out of place. It feels like with this video, James tried to make us a cake out of poop. He got us a poop, he made us a cake, covered it with the most delicious chocolate icing you have ever tasted before, in the hopes that we couldn't taste the poop. He's of course allowed to talk about his birthday and talk about all of the good things he did in his absence from the internet, especially vaccination, because vaccination is a very important conversation right now. But why this video? Why couldn't we make that a separate video? Because once again, the original accountability video is gone off of James's channel, so this is the only video that discusses the allegations on his channel. So to have the last third-ish portion of the video dedicated to all the fun things, the happy things that has happened to James or James has done in his absence off of YouTube, feels like it's taking some of the severity away from the original allegations. And it also takes away from any of the accountability that he is possibly taking. And unfortunately for James, quite a lot of comments have called him manipulative for doing this. As I said before, the response has been a bit of a mixed bag, but there are quite a few comments on the video saying that James is quite manipulative in this video and is also gaslighting his audience because of this video. Pair this with the taking down of James's original accountability video, and it does seem like James is attempting to rewrite his character in these allegations. He is trying to rewrite the narrative, he is trying to rewrite his original statement, which is quite concerning, and if that is what he is doing, it's just gross. We can still taste the poop in this cake. Ultimately, I said this in my I thought they were cancelled video. When in doubt, upload it out. So many YouTubers have been the focal point of so many different controversies at this point, and at this point, apology videos are their own subcategory on YouTube itself. And as I analysed and discussed in that video, so many of them go with the system of controversy, make apology, take absence off of the internet, make a comeback video, and then pretend as if nothing happened from there on out. And with everything I'm seeing, I'm sure that this is exactly what James Charles is going to do. His next videos are going to be him as normal. They are going to be makeup tutorials, makeup challenges, or just something fun in between that is very typical of James Charles content, and he is not going to mention the allegations again. Because as I've already said in this video, but also in my I thought they were cancelled video, James Charles still has such a loyal fan base behind him supporting him even after these allegations. The discussion of should James Charles or shouldn't James Charles come back to the internet is a very different discussion to if he can or can't come back to the internet and still have a very successful, thriving career. His apologies aren't mine to accept or deny, but for the sake of others, I really hope that he does stick by these statements, and I hope he does grow as a person and better himself so that no one else has to get hurt. I genuinely hope that I'm wrong with this because it means that no one else will get hurt, but I'm just not convinced that James has actually learnt from this situation enough to stick by his promises. Because even though the chocolate icing's nice, I can still taste the shit. And with all of that said, that is everything. That is all of it. That is all of my analysis in one little video. I actually don't know how long this video is going to be, so I don't know if I can really say little, because let's have a look at the footage we have so far. 4 hours and 53 minutes. I ramble. Your girl rambles so freaking hard. One thing I will give James credit for is in my original video when I covered this, when I analyzed his statement, apology, taking accountability, I specified that he didn't put in an appropriate trigger warning because all he said was, hey, this is a trigger warning, but didn't list the triggers. So to me, it seemed as though he didn't understand the situation enough to be able to list what the possible triggers are. In this video, he says he doesn't say trigger warning, but he puts like a little text box there saying trigger warning, and then put the trigger. I don't remember what trigger he put in there, but regardless, like, he did actually put a trigger warning acknowledging the possible triggers that are in that video. So he has done something better with this video than he did with the other videos. So look, it's a low standard, but we've got something. Either way, let me know your thoughts and opinions on James Charles's video, James Charles being back, even on my video, this video. Just let me know all of your thoughts and opinions, because I genuinely want to know, because it's one way that I can learn and grow as a human being, and your girl likes learning, your girl likes researching. If you haven't figured that out by now, hi, hello, I really like learning. And speaking of learning, let me know down in the comments what you want me to talk about, because I know where my Swiss cheese brain holes are. I know the little pockets of knowledge that I am missing in my brain, and I know how to fill them, but I don't know every single one that there is. So maybe there is a cheeky little nugget out there in the universe that you think that I would really enjoy to research and understand and make a whole entire video on, because that's why I made this video. You'll asked for it, you'll received. I hope that you enjoyed the video and you weren't sitting there being like, wow, I wish that I never commented that. But while you're letting me know all of that, you can also let me know what you think of my face! I look so cute. I don't know if it's the makeup. Wait, what do I look like without the hat? Wait, let me take the hat down. Let me take it down for a second. Also, let me know down in the comments what you want to name the hat, because I'm more than happy to give my hats names. Wait, let's see what this looks like without the hat, because maybe it's a look without the hat too. Ooh, yeah, no, I love that. I look stunning. Oh, fight me right now. You wouldn't dare. I look stellar. I look incredible. I look fantastic. Oh, I am a full freaking buffet. None of this snack, none of this meal. I am the buffet. You paid $22 and you get all of that food. Now we got to put the hat back on, because I'm really, really proud of myself with this hat, because I think she looks so cute. And oh, there's my face again. She's not a narcissist. I got tendencies. I love my face. I love makeup on my face. I love my cute little cow hat. Callum the cow hat. Callum the cow hat. Maybe Callum. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments what we should call the cow hat. This is so cute. I look stunning. I look stunning. I'm lost for words. I took my own breath away. Fight me right now. Even with the cow hat, I still look incredible. I still look so fierce and so powerful. Fight me and my cow hat. You will lose. You wouldn't dare. Also, let me know what other berets I should make, because I'm making more. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and just a little sneak peek as to what the next video of mine is going to be, because I have received so many comments on it, and I, in all honesty, was also fascinated. It is going to be on Gabby Hanna's recent 8-part series that is leading up to the official 8-part series that she is dropping soon. So brace yourselves for that one. I just hope that you are having a fantastic day, fantastic week, fantastic month, fantastic year, and I hope that you are doing as fantastic as always. Bye everyone!